Hi, my name is Jayaprashad Mohanram and you are watching Car Talk. Today I'm at MSPT with my colleague Neeraj. MSPT stands for Mahindra SUV Proving Track. This is basically the Mahindra XEV 90, Mahindra's latest and greatest electric SUV. It's a born electric SUV. This is the top of the line variant. This is the Pack 3 we are driving. Pack 3 is the top of the line variant and you can see how it looks. This is how it looks. Very similar to the concept that Mahindra showed a few years ago. Now let's look at the design of this SUV. What really stands out in the front is this massive DRL strip that runs up. Goes up there. So this is a daytime running LED. It gives the front a lot of character. It makes the XEV 90 absolutely unmistakable. You can't mistake this for any other car because of this particular element. And now let me talk about the headlamp. The headlamp is a very interesting thing here. Come, I'll show you. LED low beam. You've got ice cube LEDs here, and then you've got a fog lamp as well as a cornering lamp there. The cool thing about this headlamp setup is if you do more than 80 kilometers per hour and if there's nobody in front, okay, the ADAS is going to sense it, and then the ADAS is actually going to boost the output of these ice cube LEDs. So you're going to have a 240 meter throw. That's almost quarter kilometer. Otherwise you just have 120 meters. It's a very intelligent feature. It's almost like the laser headlamps that BMW and Mercedes has. And then you've got piano black finish for the lower part of the bumper. This is again a neat touch, but I'm not sure how it's going to fare with all the muck and debris thrown onto it. But for now, it looks pretty good and gives the front end a lot of character. So the cool part, I want to show you something. Look at this. This is the Infinity logo. It's exclusive to the XEV 90. This basically shows you the infinite possibilities that the Mahindra born electric range has, and Mahindra has brought in a new logo. It is an M here. It looks like an M, but it's actually an Infinity logo. This is a brand new logo debuting on the XEV 90. This is basically the side profile of the XEV 90. What really stands out here are these 20-inch wheels, massive wheels, 20-inch, but surprisingly it rides very well despite having such massive wheels. Then you have this piano black element, that comes in from the lower part of the bumper. The wheel arches, goes to the cladding, again the wheel arches. The whole point is it gives this SUV a sense of sophistication because this is an electric SUV. There is a level of sophistication associated with, piano black, and that is why it's here. We've seen this on the curve. It's come to the XEV 90. And now I'll give you an overview of the roof line. Just look at this. Sweeping up, then plunging down. So this is Mahindra's first coupe SUV based on the XUV 700. Okay, this is basically an XUV 700 but with a coupe roofline, a 5-seat layout, and it's actually larger than the XUV 700. The whole point of doing this is, differentiate this from the XUV 700, and it's a born electric vehicle. Mahindra wants that clear differentiation, which is why they've done this coupe styling. Looks very sporty. This SUV drives very sporty too. Now let's take a quick look at the rear of the XEV 90. Here there is a ducktail spoiler. Again, you've got a massive tail lamp that starts all the way from the edge of the bumper across the car and again plunges down. So this again gives you a sense of width because this is a wide car. This actually accentuates it, amplifies it, and makes it look really wide. It gives it great street presence. From the rear, you know that there is an XEV 90 going in front just because of this. This is one big element. Then there's a lot of sculpting. Look at this. This is the boot. And again, a little bit of sculpting on the bumper. This is an electric car, so you're not going to have any exhausts. But overall, this is basically how it looks, and there is this small element which again adds a sense of movement to the whole design. You have an Infinity logo again making an appearance at the rear of the car, and you also have the badge XEV 90. Mahindra seems to have given the XEV 90 a nice departure angle. It looks pretty high from the rear, and guess what? Since the powertrain is at the rear, there is an opportunity for Mahindra to put a small motor up front and make it an all-wheel drive vehicle. In terms of interiors, overall, the material on this car feels a notch higher than those used on the BE6E. So this is, there's soft touch plastics everywhere, and it basically feels like a more premium car compared to the BE6E. The beige interiors all around. India loves beige. So people who will get into this car will immediately feel how luxurious, figure out how luxurious it is. And one more thing about the seat, it's got power function. As you exit, the seat is going to go back and, give you that additional room to maneuver and get out. Once you get inside, the seat is automatically going to come back to your original driving position. So it's got memory function. A lot of family car buyers are, I guess, going to prefer this car over the BE6C. And now I just want to touch upon the massive touchscreen, which is like a big party item in this car. Just look at this touchscreen. It's a triple screen layout. The first screen basically is your MID, which basically shows you everything that you basically need to know about the car, your speed, your range, the works. The middle, you've got one more screen again, but this is also a driver focus screen, the middle screen, where you have your Apple CarPlay and you can access all the apps and do everything that you would generally want to do with your car and control a lot of settings. And then there is one more screen. This is for the co-passenger. The co-passenger gets a dedicated screen. It's almost like he or she can watch a movie and just relax while you do the driving. So it's like a proper entertainment suite for the co-passenger. Of course, I also want to point out a few drawbacks that we experienced. See, if you can zoom here and show everybody this. Hi, the software used in the test drive cars are in beta stage. So Mahindra clearly says that the software used is in beta stage, and while using it, we did feel that because there is a bit of lag, in the interface. I think that is because, there is so much going on in the software, I think still needs some tweaking. So over a period of time, maybe 1 or 2 months, I think Mahindra will come up with a few patches, firmware patches, etc. And the good thing is, it's an electric car. Over there updates, and it's a connected car, so over there updates are like very, very easy. So eventually I think you're going to have all those updates, and this will work more seamlessly than what it is now. So I'm driving the Mahindra XEV 9e. This feels like a XUV 700's electric version, but in a coupe SUV form factor. That is what it looks like from the outside. On the inside also, this feels very much like the XUV 700, right from the placement of your start stop button, okay, to a bunch of other things. The gear shifter, the drive, there's a drive select here. The XUV, of course, it was basically the gear shifter because on the automatic. So that is the basic difference. But overall, it feels like a XUV 700, but in electric form. So that means it's large, spacious, airy. You've got a massive glass roof that basically lets in a lot of air. It's light. But it's not a sunroof. It's just a glass roof that's got a blind that you can either use it to, let in more light or shut light. So overall, it's a wide car. There's plenty of space. It feels like it is a much larger car than the BE6C. In terms of how it drives, right now I've just put it in the race mode so that I'll be able to compare and basically give you a fair picture about how it feels, because I've just stepped out of the BE6C, we've swapped cars, and now I am driving this car. So let's accelerate. I'm at 70 kilometers per hour now. Yeah, it's an open highway. Yes. Alright, the power is coming in quick, but this car is, I think, significantly heavier than the BE6C. So there is torque, but for some reason, the rush that I got in the BE6C is simply not there in this car, because probably the average speeds are higher, because there I was doing, I was driving in traffic, but within no time you're doing triple digit speeds, and 150 in a matter of a few seconds comes up, which is phenomenal. Okay, I think I'll have to slow down to about 60 or 50 kilometers per hour and then accelerate to really feel the rush. But overall, there's a lot of thrust, but it doesn't feel racy. It doesn't feel as sporty as the BE6C. This is more mature. It's got a different feel. This, I think, is going to appeal to older people, and even in terms of pricing, it's priced in such a way that older people will prefer it. I mean, older people will be able to afford it. That's the kind of zone that this particular car sits in. There is acceleration. It's not to say that there's no acceleration. It is, speeds. It picks up speeds effortlessly. So that is the whole difference between this and the BE60. The steering weighs up really nicely. There's some added weight, a distinctive feel. It's the same platform, same wheelbase, same battery system more or less, and literally everything is the same in terms of powertrain, etc. But it's remarkable how Mahindra has managed to engineer these cars so differently, because it feels like a completely different car. Okay, in terms of the way it handles, it's slightly lazier compared to the BE60, which was a lot sharper, more youthful, more exuberant. This is more mature, more planted, and it's like a big easy. It's a more easier car, I guess, to live with in terms of ingress, egress, and the way it feels, the seats, etc., etc. In terms of range, if the cameraman can zoom in and show the range here. I'm at about 63% SOC, and there's about 300 kilometers of range. Plenty of range. That's basically, and the region is now set to level 1 because we are on the highway. I've not set it to level 3 because on highways you tend to typically have need less region because you don't want so many braking incidents. You want to coast a bit, etc. Because if you have set it to level 3, it's going to aggressively brake and you can't coast. On a highway, you want to coast and increase and decrease your speeds based on traffic so that you are in the flow basically. In terms of ride, it feels more cushioned, more comfortable, more pliant than the BE60. This is the XEV 9e I'm talking about. So I think suspension setup is different. Of course, even this gets semi-active suspension, frequency selective damping, etc., which makes for a wonderful ride. But overall, this feels like the more comfortable car between the BE60 and this one. And when it comes to handling, this is equally sharp, but you do know that you're driving a much larger car compared to the BE60, and there is a hint of body roll because it's a taller car, it's a larger car, it's a heavier car, and it shows. Though it's an electric car, it handles very well because all the weight is down low, center of gravity is low, so it handles pretty well. But since we've just stepped in from a very sporty car, you actually feel that there is a little bit of body roll, and it's slightly, it's not as planted or it doesn't stick to the road like, say, the BE60. There is a sense of calm about this car. This car doesn't feel frantic. It doesn't feel like the BE60. So this, I think, will appeal. It'll have its own niche set of buyers, a different niche basically. Both of them are going to have different niches. It's wonderful that Mahindra has been able to differentiate these cars, and I think it's intentional. That's why they've launched 2 different flavors of the same InGlow born electric vehicle platform. InGlow here, just so that stands for Made in India, Designed in India for the Globe. So that is what InGlow means. Just some trivia there. So now we've just shifted to the range mode. The range mode is the mode that you use to maximize range. We are on a highway. The region is set to L1. It's not aggressive. So 62% SOC. If the cameraman can just zoom in and show the SOC, it's doing about, I can see 62% on the screen, and 350 kilometers. Which is quite phenomenal because this is 2/3 of what the car can do. So if you're going to unlock one more third, so I think you're going to get about 520, 530 kilometers. But more or less, I expect it to give you about 500 kilometers of real world range in the range mode. Braking is quite sharp here. The throttle response, again, is slightly more dulled down because I think it's not unlocking all that power. So the way they've modulated throttle, the way the power comes in, etc., is much more milder in the range mode, like it should, because the focus here is to stretch the battery, basically maximize the juice that the battery has and, travel a larger distance. That is the range mode for you. Now let's go to the other mode. There's one more mode that we have to show you. It's the everyday mode. This is probably the mode that most people are going to be in for most part of their drive. So now we're in everyday mode. So everyday mode is very similar to the range mode, except that The range drops. It's just showing me about 309 kilometers for a 62% state of charge SOC. So this is about 450 kilometers of real world range. But the throttle response is a lot more livelier. The car picks up speed very effortlessly. You don't know because see, when you're doing 60 with just a dab of the throttle, you're at 120, and it's within no time. There is literally, the roll-on accelerations, very typical of EVs, is extremely strong, and this will make for a great highway muncher. Because the thing is, see, you are getting good range. In range maximization mode, you can easily get 500 kilometers. This car is comfortable, it's large, it's airy, so it makes for a great highway cruiser. If Mahindra were to simply add a larger battery pack on an XUV 700, packaging would have been a challenge. But since they have ensured that this is in the floor and they're able to get a very large space between the wheels for the battery, etc., they've been managed to engineer it beautifully. And this is a rear wheel drive car. It's not a front wheel drive car like the XUV 700. This is a rear wheel drive car, so that is a key difference between this and the BE6e. The BE6e, for those who really want to get a move on, they want a sporty car. But this is for people who want a more family orientated electric SUV coupe, large, comfortable, and nice to drive. So before we conclude, I just wanted to give you a sense of how capacious the boot space is. It's a pretty big boot. The loading lip is high, but it's a big boot, and it's pretty flat, so it's going to be easy to remove stuff from here. So we've reached the end of the XEV 90 review. Lovely car, enjoyed driving it. First drive review is done. Now, if you like this kind of content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe to Carter. Oh shit, what are you doing, dude?